Hi, everybody, and happy Tuesday. My name is Sandy Elson, and on behalf of the travel professional community and travelprofessionalnews.com, I want to welcome all of you and thank you for joining us today. Today's webinar is being hosted by Travel Planners International. Travel Planners International is a sales, marketing, and support agency for new and experienced travel professionals. Savvy, entrepreneurial-minded agents and agency owners partner with TPI for their forward-thinking, profit-generating marketing programs, their savvy social media support, their small business training events and agent community building meetings, and their time-saving back-office technologies. Truth be told, they describe themselves as a group of fun, good-looking peeps in Maitland, Florida, who spend their days and nights dreaming and scheming of ways they can make their family of passionate, sleep-deprived rock star agents so happy and profitable that they go to bed at night, usually pretty darn late, yelling, "Nailed it!" Our speaker today for TPI is one of my favorites, the wonderful Jenn Lee, Vice President of Sales and Marketing. If you've heard Jenn before or if you've never heard her before, you're in for a huge treat because she is just fabulous. Celebrating just 2 short years. Jenn, is it still 2 short years in the travel industry?
No, I was just thinking that, Sandy. We have to take 3 short years
Okay.
now.
Celebrating just 3 short years in the travel industry, Jenn Lee isn't shy about her obsession for guiding and leading today's entrepreneurial-minded travel advisor community. According to Jenn, the travel industry is on the upswing, and this is the moment to remind the world that travel advisors aren't just booking travel, but boosting their bank account. They're building a business. Back in her business consulting days, she and her clients landed spots on Fox Business, Good Morning America, and Shark Tank, as well as numerous national publications like Success Magazine and Entrepreneur. However, what keeps Lee going isn't gaining accolades or being featured on TV. It's about meeting with passionate, hustling, and driven entrepreneurs in the making who just plain get it. Well, that and her bulletproof coffee.
Mhm.
Jen's topic today is how to curate a loyal fan base as a travel professional. Before we get started, a reminder that you are all muted, but we welcome your questions. You can type in your questions in the question area you see on the right-hand panel of your screen. At the end of the webinar, we'll get to as many questions as we can. Also, at the end of the webinar, Jenn has 2 amazing prizes for 2 lucky prize winners, so stay tuned for that. I'll tell you more about that a little later, but as a hint, you're going to want to take notes. So let's get started. Welcome back, Jenn.
Hey, Sandy, thank you so much. Hey, rock stars. I see there's a whole bunch of you guys on here live. I'm super excited. And for those of you that are listening where this has been recorded and you had to listen to it like a podcast later on, hi to you as well. For this one, I'm pretty excited because I started talking about curating a loyal fan base when I kept seeing on our Facebook page. TPI has a private Facebook group, a bunch of private Facebook groups for our agents, and a while back people just kept posting, and tell me if you can relate to this. People kept posting, "I can't believe it, my next door neighbor is on a cruise and she didn't book it through me," or "How in the heck does it make sense that my best friend from high school didn't call me and I see she's in Egypt right now on vacation? Like, why did that happen?" And if this is some of the things that you've seen, I'd love for you to type it in the question section, right, Sandy? That's where they type it in. Like, tell me some of the things you've seen where it's just kind of boggled your mind. Maybe even previous clients of yours who you took great care of, but yet all of a sudden now they are booking through somebody else, or they booked something online, and it causes you to kind of like scratch your head, like, what did I do wrong?
Right,
And
so
so
folks, if you want to type your answers into the question area, things that your agents have told you, that your clients who are no longer with you have told you why they left.
yeah, or what was one of those situations that happened? I know it happens all the time, and it leaves, and again, this is in any industry I've ever worked in, the same principles hold true, the same frustrations hold true. You end up finding yourself scratching your head. How in the heck can I keep somebody loyal to me when I've done my best from a customer service standpoint? What the heck is happening along the way? And so what I'm going to spend the next half hour or 40 minutes talking about is, first off, why this is happening, the underlying reason that you need to really recognize to prevent it from happening, as well as some of the things, real strategies that you can put into place that are way better than sending a follow-up thank you card. Other types of strategies that will really marry your clients to you and create a loyal fan base that will constantly refer business to you, as well as use your services. So this happens all the time. Sandy, just interrupt me. You know how we roll, girl.
Yeah.
You just interrupt me.
Okay, well, the most common answer I'm getting, we have many people who answered, is that the next time these clients travel, they book direct.
Yeah.
And a lot of agents are saying that the clients called and got tons of information and then booked direct. So that's pretty darn frustrating.
It is. It is. And there's always going to be those that do that. But I'm going to share with you guys a statistic that I found. Like, this came from entrepreneur.com. And so I don't want you to feel so bad. You ready? 61% of US consumers report that they changed brands or providers in the last year, meaning your customers aren't afraid to leave you. Customer loyalty also isn't what some brands believe it to be. For example, customers who buy the products a brand has on sale aren't loyal. Many are simply looking for the cheapest option, which means they're more loyal to the discount than to the brand. So 61% of US consumers report that they went ahead and changed a brand or a provider in the past year. So you're not alone. It's not indicative of the travel industry. It's not because you provided too much information. It's not because it's cheaper online. Those are the stories that we tell ourselves to make ourselves feel better and justify. And in many cases, it's because that's what the client tells you, right? They tell you, well, I found it cheaper online. Well, a loyal client, imagine Xanadu. A loyal client is someone who doesn't even look online. And even if they do see it cheaper online, they're like, there's no way I'm not giving that business to Sally. I want to do business with Sally because I know she takes great care of me, and I want to support Sally and her business. That's really where we really want to get. So
another thing, Jen, a lot of people are saying that they don't think they kept in good enough touch after the trip. And a couple of people have said that if the client has bought a certain kind of vacation, like a cruise, and now they're looking for an all-inclusive, they go elsewhere because they say, I didn't know you did that too.
Exactly. Oh my goodness, that happens all the time. And in just a little bit, I'm going to share a story with you that's really going to blow your mind and make you feel better, and at the same time, make you understand how important these strategies are. But that's 100% correct. So I'm going to ask you guys a couple of questions. And so Sandy, it looks like they know how to type in questions. I love this.
Absolutely.
Answer this. I love it. Good job, team. Okay, so answer this. What makes someone stay loyal? These are usually one-word answers like good customer service, follow-up, friendship. Type in what you think makes someone stay loyal to you.
Okay, we're getting a lot of people who say service. I would be curious as to what they mean by service. We have one person who wrote in relationships. That's an interesting one.
It's definitely a relationship business, no doubt about it.
Expertise and service, honesty, friendship. They like the agent. They're getting what they want. They feel like they're the agent's number one priority. That's most of them are service-related answers.
Right. And that is something that, and for those of you who have never heard me speak, I came to the industry just a few years ago, and one of the things that I'm kind of on my soapbox about is when travel advisors and agents walk around saying, oh, I provide great service, that doesn't mean anything to anybody. So stop saying that. They don't know what that means. Oh, I add value. Yes, you do, but that doesn't mean anything to most people. Value means something very different. So we're going to get really finite on this. So what makes someone stay loyal? All of your answers are correct and incorrect at the same time. I heard the one right answer. The next question I want to ask you is, why do people leave you? Or anybody? Why has somebody left? Why have you left a service provider or a company in the past? And let's not try to get into, why you left your husband. That's not this kind of.
Okay, we're getting looking for something cheaper, better price, inattention, They feel there was a lack of customer service. They think the agent screwed up. They felt the agent didn't care about them and they didn't feel appreciated. They're shopping around, no loyalty. They don't think it's a big deal to go and use somebody else or book direct.
Right.
Miscommunication. They think they know better. That's a good one. Yeah.
Those sound like all the answers we see on our private Facebook group when we're trying to self-soothe one another and each other. That's for sure. So all of those are correct for sure. 100%, every single one of them are correct. I'm going to show a statistic. My next slide is a chart that I found, and I dug for about an hour to find one that gave me different information. I kept seeing the same statistic over and over again, these same percentages, pretty darn close to each other over and over again. So I'm feeling confident in telling you this is the reason why customers stop using your service. Hopefully you can see the pie chart. So let's look at the upper right, 14% customers, why customers stop using your service. 14% said they were dissatisfied with your service. 9% said they were persuaded to go to a competitor. 5% said customer gets friend to provide service. I know we've seen that one. 3% the customer moves away. And 1% leave you because they die. Okay, I'm sorry, they're dead. They can't use the service any longer. That cracks me up. Like, who answered that? Like, who answered that question? That's why I looked for this multiple times. But let's look at the big part of the pie chart. 68% stopped using your service because the customer believes you don't care about them. And I heard several of you say that in the what makes them loyal and what makes people leave you from loyalty. It's this the belief that you don't care about them. Now, I have yet to meet a small business owner that I've wanted to have more than a 10-minute conversation with, a small business owner that says, I don't care about my customers. I could care less. I'm there to use them. I've yet to meet somebody like that, because if I did, then I walked away because they're jerks, right? All of you care, but the customer believes that you don't care. So I want to pause for just a second and I want to share a personal story with you. So many years ago, I worked for a company, and one of the girls that worked for me, her name was Susan Feilbark. And we were in a sales organization, and she was great at sales, but you could just tell she wasn't one of these people that wanted to be inside an office in a cubicle Monday through Friday answering the phones. She was very vivacious. She was extremely smart. She was successful at what she did. But she decided to leave this industry, was the electronics components industry, believe it or not. And she decided to get into real estate. Her family was in real estate before. Her dad owned a brokerage, so she got into real estate, and she focused on high-end real estate. So Susan and I maintained our friendship through the years, and she had been gone from the company about 4 or 5 years when my husband and I decided to buy our first home. Now, we are not high end at this point. Like, we were like that first time home buyer back in the day when Bank of America had a first time home buyer program, and we got like a 7% interest, and we thought we were, hot potato. So it was a very modest home that we were buying. And so I called Susan hesitantly and I said, hey, I know this isn't the $1 million homes you're used to, but I'd love for you to represent us. She said, absolutely. And she gave us her all. She was fantastic. And my husband's one tough customer. He's kind of tough to deal with sometimes. He's a nice guy, but he's tough to deal with. I talk about him a lot on my webinars. Have you noticed that, Sandy? Anyway, so we buy our first home. It's a beautiful transaction. Everything works out perfect. She deals with all the obstacles. You couldn't ask for a better person. She gave us a plant when we closed, and we maintained friendships for another 8 years. And it was time for my husband and I to sell our current home. And so we called our good friend Susan Feilbark, because Susan had done a really great job in helping us buy it. And at the same time, we wanted to buy a new home. So along the way, we had stayed friends, and this is pre-Facebook land. We had stayed friends, but Susan used to always send me a card. She'd send me a card every birthday, every Thanksgiving, every Christmas, right? The anniversary of us owning our home. I got 6 cards from Susan with 2 business cards in them each time from Susan Feilbark. And so we always knew Susan Feilbark was our realtor. So we go to sell our home. She does a great job with that. We buy the new home. She does a fantastic job with that. Everything's fantastic. Boogie on down the line a couple of years, my husband and I are sitting around the kitchen table, and we're saying, you know what, the market's really strong right now. We think we can get a lot for our home. What do you think? Do you think we should put the house on the market and maybe rent for a year and like build something? And we're like, yeah, that sounds good. So, of course we had received our cards from Susan and everything, so it made sense. Who did we call, Sandy? We called,
Susan.
not, no, we did not call Susan
Uh-oh.
Falbar. We called Kim Coburn. Now, Kim Coburn, who we had never done business with before, but we received a postcard from Kim Coburn, and I'm sure you guys have seen these as well. Every month we'd get a postcard in the mail that tells us about the different sales that are happening in our neighborhood, and she would tell us what the price per square foot was, and she'd give us a little real estate tip. I've never met Kim Coburn, but I felt like I knew her, and I felt like she really cared about me and my home because I received those cards in the mail. So we hire Kim Coburn to start selling our house. Do you know when I realized that I didn't even think of Susan Falbark? When I was getting my hair cut one day, and in walks into the beauty salon Susan Falbark.
Uh-oh.
And my heart skipped a beat. We hadn't even thought of her. We had done business, multiple transactions with her. I had been friends with her at this point probably 12 years. She had been to my home multiple times. She had done nothing wrong. She had not failed. But what it was instinctively, somewhere along the line, those cards that she would send me, every single time I'd go, oh yeah, it must be Thanksgiving. It's a card from Susan Falbark. It must be Christmas. It's a card from Susan Falbark. I became a number in my mind from her, even though I knew I wasn't. But in my mind, it's like, oh yeah, here's another card. Here's another card. On the flip side, Kim Coburn was sending me valuable information, and she showed that she cared about me and my real estate dealings. And so that's the reason why we automatically called Kim. Now, of course, I was highly embarrassed, and I came clean to Susan because I'm a very honest person. And she's like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that. That's okay, but thank you for telling me. But why do you think it is? And I said, you know what? I think it's because you never really showed you cared. You do care, but your actions didn't show that you really cared. Kim's actions did. And so she stopped sending those cards, and she learned a lesson, and I've certainly learned a lesson along the way as well. And Kim was not able to sell our house at the price that we wanted, so by golly, we should have probably hired Susan Falbark. But the moral of the story is sometimes when we only look at strategies and tactics and say that if I do this, if I send a thank you card each time, then that person's going to stay loyal to me, that is an incorrect statement. What we really need to do is show on a regular daily basis that we care. Now, we don't have to call our clients every single day. And the next part of my webinar is really going to be about what are some of those strategies and things for you to think about. Now, I'm interested to see if any of you guys hate me now because I didn't call Susan Falbark, or can you relate? Have you ever done the same thing? Have you had great service somewhere and then you went to go buy the car again, but you forgot to ask for a bill? Like, ask yourself, has there been a time where you've been completely satisfied, but yet you didn't go back to that same service provider? All right.
One person so far said she can relate.
Good. And then none of them hate me, right? Because I didn't call Susan Falbark.
Is Susan Falbark one of the agents on this call? I don't know.
No, Susan knows this story. She is a very successful realtor. All right, so let's talk about what it takes, some of those things you've probably never heard before when it comes to create that loyalty to where they believe that you do care about them. And loyalty is so key when you run into obstacles and challenges along the way, not just getting the new business, but in ensuring that your current business is being handled well. So, I already told you the little story. Okay, first things first. I talk about this, and anytime I talk about branding, you'll hear me talk about consistency is key. So in this case, your brand consistency is key in trusting the process, which is you. So in other words, if your email signature says I'm, here for you 24 hours a day, but you have an automatic, you have an out of office reply that says I'll get back with you tomorrow, that's not consistent. If you say you focus on families, but yet you're posting pictures about, I don't know, the wine country, that's not consistent. You have to make sure that you tie all these things together. That's really key in people understanding I'm dealing with a professional and I feel like they care enough that they know me, because psychologically, we're attaching ourselves to you. Once we're attached to you, it's hard for us to break away. I'm sure you guys have heard people say, oh, I do a lot of my business just through email and I never have to talk to my clients. Well, that's a big, big challenge. You shouldn't ever do that. You need to have at least one phone conversation where you can hear their voice and they can hear your voice, so they can attach themselves, like from a maternal standpoint, almost like attach yourself. Have the same passion during the quoting process and beyond. So if you're excited about quoting, but then you're not excited when you call them, when you're telling them the details, or maybe giving them the bad news or asking for the next payment or what have you, if you don't have that same passion throughout, they're going to lose an attachment to you. Your follow-up style should remain the same, and you should tailor your content and responses to your audience. So let's go back to if you've started to do a lot of follow-up when it comes to the quoting, but yet you rarely follow up before the trip, and you're not following up during or after the trip, then that's going to be a break in the brand and a break in the consistency. And tailoring your content and responses to your audience, go back and look for the one webinar. Now I'm not going to remember the name of it. I put myself on the spot here. Oh, how to never hear another no again. Go back. It's one of the wonderful Travel Professional News webinars that we did not too long ago. How to never hear another no again will help you understand how you can tailor your content and your responses based on the personality of the person you're dealing with. The more efforts you put in the beginning to understand and to get them connected to you, the easier, the stickier they become from a loyalty standpoint. All right, any questions so far? Feel free to challenge me on anything that I'm saying. I love a good challenge. Second thing that you can do is social media is your superpower now. Oh my goodness, this is the best place to create loyalty without actually having to be on the phone with somebody or taking them out to dinner and so on and so forth. Social media gives you a chance to really stay connected to them. So stay consistent with frequency on your social media channels. People want to know that you're there. If you're posting every single day, post every single day. If you start dropping off and you're erratic and it's 10 times one day and 1 time a week the next month, they are going to equate that to erratic, to you being erratic as well. And then they're going to lose that stickiness. Be personal. Let them know that you are a human. Now, Sandy, I don't know what other webinars you do about social media, but there's always this debate on whether or not you share your personal life on your business page, and do you share your business on your personal page? Have you heard that before?
Absolutely. Question always comes up.
Right, exactly. So I'd love to hear what you guys are doing out there, but here's what I'm going to tell you. People will know that you care about them if they know you are a human. Let's start there first, right? Because a building can't care for a human. You are a human, so act like a human. If you have a business page, and that's really all the place that you want to put your business information, then then you still need to show them that you're a human, pictures of yourself. I was telling somebody the other day, I was looking at somebody's Facebook profile, and their profile picture was of a dove. I'm like, what does that got to do with A, travel, and B, why is that your business page? Why a dove? To me, a dove means like cemetery or funeral, or like I've gone to heaven or something like that. And it was their business page. And then I went through this page trying to find a picture of this agent, and there was no human pictures. It was all advertisements or pictures of, there were some feet pictures. I saw some feet, but that's not going to help me feel like you're loyal and committed to me. So show them that you're human by the things that you post. Be responsive and comment on their comments. One of the things I do 3 times a day, every single day, really early in the morning, sometimes at lunch when I'm waiting in the drive-through line, and then also at night before I go to bed, is I check our Facebook page. And I make sure that every comment that's applicable that my agents are putting on there, I'm making a comment on their comment. I'm showing them that I'm there for them, that I'm there with them the whole time. Again, that creates that stickiness. And then also a shout out to your fans. So if you've got people who just called you and they just got back, or no, so if you've got a family that you've done a vacation for, and now you see their daughter's graduating from high school, make sure you do a big shout out like, hey, congratulations, I'm so excited for Sarah. That's amazing. Stay in front of them. You don't ever have to say, hey, let's make sure we do that graduation trip. That's like gross. Don't do that. But just give a shout out to your fans. Also, give a shout out to your fans on your page or on your personal page. Maybe you saw that somebody just did something special, or they sang in a choir, or they just won an award, or they just bought a new home or something. Post a comment on your page and tag them and just say, you know, so proud to know this individual. Like, I'm so happy this person's in my life. They got to buy their very first home. Whatever it is, it needs to be genuine. This isn't a tactic, so to speak, but these are types of things that actually will help people feel like you actually care about them. So it needs to be genuine. If you don't care that they bought the home and you don't like that person, I don't care that they bought a world cruise last year, don't be inauthentic on your Facebook.
Jen, we do have a couple of comments that you might want to respond to. One agent said he really doesn't understand the whole social media thing yet. And along those lines, another agent said, are you supposed to hire someone to help with social media? Because she doesn't have time to do it every day.
Okay, so so to the first question, don't know social media, don't use it. That's fine. You don't have to. This is just, there are plenty of people who built businesses way before social media came around, right? They used other tactics like, I don't know, they saw each other, they met for coffee, they called one another. That was social media back in the day. So if you've got a business where you're excited, you're happy with the way that you're growing your business and the way that you're meeting new people and you have a different marketing strategy, then don't worry about social media. It's not the end all be all. For the second person, she had said something about, should I hire somebody? Or he said something about, should I hire somebody? And I'm going to tell you no. You can't. You cannot outsource this portion of your caring. You can't say, I'll go back to Susan Feilbart for a second. It was never Susan's signature in those cards. Not that it would have made a difference, but she had hired somebody to send cards for her because she had a lot of clients and she wanted to continue to touch them, quote unquote, touch them, air quotes, but it didn't feel real. Even though it came from Susan and it was signed Susan, it wasn't Susan. From a social media standpoint, you have to be authentic. People will read right through it. I don't know if I've done a social media webinar for you guys, but I'll be happy to do one coming up. And we'll talk about some of the things that you can do on social media that are easy to do, shows your expertise, does not make you sound like a stupid salesperson, and is fun. But it is not the end all be all. I hope I answered both of those questions.
Yeah, those were great answers. Thank you.
Good, good. Keep them coming, guys. Keep them coming. All right. The next thing is invite them to play. One of the things that I learned many, many years ago was most people want to be part of somebody else's success. Think about yourself for a moment. Doesn't it make you feel good when you know you've done something to help somebody else, right? Like if you say to somebody, it would mean the world to me if you were to post a comment. If I could bother you for just a moment, something that really would be helpful to me as I grow my business is if you could pass my cards around, or, hey, I know you own a beauty salon. Is there any way that even for just like a week or 10 days, something small, can I put my brochure here for my group that I have on this Royal Caribbean cruise? When you ask people and you invite them in to be a part of your success, 99.9% of the people will do it. When you've done that, you have now created an ambassador for you, not a lead generator, but somebody who is connected to you, someone who's going to be loyal to you because of your humbleness and the way that you've asked. And again, this all has to be authentic. If that's not who you are authentically, don't do it. Here's some other things that you can do. Invite them to play by sharing your content and invite them to subscribe. Here's one of the things I see all the time. People never have a call to action to share their stuff or invite them to subscribe. If you watch any YouTube channel or listen to any podcast or anything, you will always hear them say, hey, and if you like what we had to say and you think somebody else would benefit from it, it would be awesome if you were to share this content. Or, hey, if you liked what I had to say and you want to hear more, I invite you to subscribe. You actually have to ask them to do it. If you don't ask them, they won't do it. If you don't ASK, you won't GET, as I used to say all the time. Cross promote your content and invite them to play. Run polls. This is awesome. People love taking tests. Test taking is like, right back in the day, Sandy, we didn't want to take a test. Now we want to take tests. We love tests now. So run a poll on your Facebook page that says, hey, I'm trying to figure out my next place for me to go on vacation. Tell me where, share with me out of these 4 countries, which one will be the one you'd want to go to next? Or something really simple like, what is your favorite topping on broccoli? I mean, simple, silly little things like that. People will start answering that, and then that will generate this excitement and remind them of you and that you care about them because you're asking them their opinion on something. As silly as that sounds, people like that. Don't copy the ones that Facebook does. I think there's one out there right now about making your face look old. Who would want to do that? I don't get that. But anyways, there's one out there like that. Don't do that. Make up your own. And then again, to my point before, go ahead and tell them that you need them. There's nothing wrong with saying, listen, I'm growing my business, or I'm trying to take my business to the next level, and it would just mean the world to me if you were to help me with that. Or if you ever get an opportunity and you hear somebody talking about planning a vacation, if you would be so kind, I would appreciate if you were to share my name with them, or if you've got a group that you're a part of and they're looking to do something special, I'd love the opportunity to come in and just chat for a little bit. Invite them in. You'd be surprised the number of people that would say yes. One of the things that irritates me, and I tell this to my agents all the time, is at the bottom of the signature, there's like this standard line that realtors used to use, like the greatest compliment is your referral. Come on, come up with something better than that. That is like a copy and paste line, and that does not show you have any creativity, which as a curator of amazing experiences, you should never put anything in your signature or post anything that seems like it's somebody else's. Make it special, because that's who you are, and that's what we want people to know us as, that without us, there is none of that service or the value. You can't get it anywhere else. And so you have to show that in everything that you do. And again, that creates loyalty because they feel comfortable. They're in this womb, so to speak, of what they are expecting. They know they're going to get what they are expecting. I don't know if that makes sense, but yes. And Sandy, keep telling me if you've got anything to say.
Will do.
All right. So next is, who do we trust? The most credible. So we're going to talk about reviews here in a minute. The most credible advertising comes straight from the people we know and trust. More than 8 in 10 global respondents, that's 83%, say they completely or somewhat trust the recommendations of friends and family, people. It's not TripAdvisor. It's not the website of the cruise line. They trust the recommendations of friends and family. But trust isn't confined only to those in our inner circle. In fact, 2/3, 66%, say they trust consumer opinions posted online, the third most trusted format. But it's, if you combine those two, is they're going to trust if somebody posts on Facebook or Instagram, hey, by the way, want to tell you, if you want to go to the Amalfi Coast, you need to call my gal Sally. She knows what she's doing. Or if somebody posts, and I know you guys see this all the time, somebody posts, hey, we're looking to do a family vacation, something a little different. We don't want to do a cruise this year. What recommendations do you have? You better be one of those people answering that. And in your post, it should be something like, oh my goodness, I just planned this trip for a family a couple of months ago, and they loved going to the Grand Canyon. Give me a holler if you want me to answer any questions for you. And then somebody invariably will go, oh my God, that's Sally. Sally's the best travel advisor I've ever met. She took care of us 3 years ago, and on and on and on and on and on. If you can gain reviews on your blog or on your website, you can do that as well. Ask them to post something. When somebody comes back and they said they had a great time, go ahead and ask them. You know what? A lot of times, and this is what I always say, and if any of our TPI agents are on the line, they've seen me do this from time to time. Maybe we get done with a training or something, and the day after I say, oh my God, it was great to see you, which it always is because we have rock stars. I love seeing all entrepreneurs. And I'll say, you know what? A lot of times people go to websites and our main Facebook page, our public Facebook page, to help them make a decision on which host agency is going to work best for them. It would mean the world to me if you were to help them in making that decision by posting how you feel about us. If you wouldn't mind taking 2 moments, it would mean so much to me. And then I always include 2 links, a link to the main Facebook page and a link to another place where we have reviews. And then they'll do it. But if you don't ask, they won't. And I find that most people have a tough time asking. They think they're bothering somebody. And in reality, if we go back to what makes them loyal to you, they're loyal to you because they're part of your process. If you've done this right, they are part of your success. And they've stuck themselves to you in that respect. So by inviting them to play and asking them to help, you're just making that a stronger stickiness. Interview them for a blog. We do that often with our agents. We put together blogs all the time, and we call 4 or 5 of our agents, and we make it about them. It's not about us, it's about them. You do the same. Maybe you're not a blog writer. Maybe you just want to write, I don't know, you can do 2 paragraphs and do a quick snippet about something, a place, a destination, a product, a supplier, an idea, a restaurant, something. But interview them. Say, hey, I know you had a good time. I'd love to ask you a few questions and put you on my blog. Then they'll send you a picture. Everybody likes to see their picture online, except for my husband. They'll just send a picture, and believe me, they'll be proud that they were part of your success. And then post their testimonials on your website and also in your email marketing.
Jen, we have an interesting comment here. One of our agents says, I ask clients to tag me on Facebook when they return and mention my business.
So that's great. I would chat. Do they do it? And hopefully this person can type in the answer quickly.
She said, I also ask them to share photos with me that I can post.
I love that even more.
And
so
she's saying, yes, they do it. They do tag her.
That's good. That's because you've developed a relationship with them and you're not asking them a favor. You're asking them to help somebody else make a good decision, right? So you've done it right, and bravo to you. And I love the idea of, hey, send me some pictures. I'd like to be able to, put together a quick article about where you went. And, some people will send you pictures of the whole family, and other people will just send you pictures of the scenery, and that's fine. And now you've got content. You've got content that you can share on a regular basis on your Facebook or on your Instagram or in your blog. Good job. It's excellent. People want to help you. They want to see you be successful. So I'm going to go backwards for a second. Hopefully I did this right. Here we go. I'm going to go backwards for a second. And I'm going to ask you this question again. What makes someone stay loyal to you? Now that you know what they know, what is the one thing that you got from this webinar that was kind of, I hate using that word aha moment because it's so, everyone uses it and I can't stand that. But what was the one thing that you're like, you know what? That made sense. Maybe I need to stop doing this or start doing this. So I'd love to hear your answers on that.
We have a lot of answers coming in. Good relationships. Consistency is key. You truly care about them. Reach out and show that you care and show more passion. Nurture them, nurture the relationship, show clients you care by getting feedback from them.
I love that. Ask. So many people I had an agent one time say, is it just me or are you scared to check on a client mid trip because you're afraid that they might not be having a good time?
Interesting.
And I think it says a lot when you're nervous about that. And I'm going to say that in a positive way, not in a negative way. First off, you should always check on your clients while they're gone. Nothing says I care about you more than, even though I've already gotten my money and I've sent you on your merry way, I'm still with you along the way, number one. Number two, the fact that this person was so nervous about it just tells me that they care enough about that person to make sure they're doing okay, but they're just nervous because they don't know the answer of a problem, right? So what if they come back and they go, oh my God, actually I hate it. I absolutely hate it. You want to tackle that problem now, not after they come back and they send you this scathing long email because they've had 4-hour delay on their flight to end that vacation of theirs. Like, touch base with them now. Find out now. I love that.
Here's something nice for you, Jen. One agent said, I thought I was connected, but not really after hearing this webinar.
Oh, yay, good. See, now we can make a change. Right. Anybody who leaves you for price is sure, that's immediately, there was no loyalty. They're loyal to the price. And some people you're just not going to be able, some people have some armor up and you're never really going to be able to get them to be loyal. They're loyal to the price, and that's who they are. Don't be chasing that business because you're going to lose every single time. You'll lose on price. If you start and end with price, you'll lose every single time. Even when you win, you lose because they'll always beat you up over something else. And those, I guarantee you, I've got people shaking their heads up and down right now because they've either experienced it or seen it with somebody else. What else we got there, Miss Sandy?
Just more of the same. Relationships, nurturing, keeping in touch. Pretty much that's it. Nurturing the relationship and not just letting it go once the sale is made. Correct.
So I know we've got a couple of questions that we're going to ask here. I've shared what I wanted to share. I want to end with this 68% customers believe you don't care about them, and that is the reason why they stop using your service. This is an easy thing to fix by showing them that you do care through your actions. It doesn't have to be presents. It can be texting somebody on their birthday versus posting it on Facebook. It could be just texting them and saying, and again, it has to be authentic. It could be just texting them, just saying, you know what, I was just thinking about you. It could be sending them a video message as opposed to an email. Things that put your face in front of them also help create loyalty, because it's hard to say no to that cute mug of yours sometimes, right?
Here's an
I want
interesting
you guys
question.
to,
Oh,
sure.
can you get someone back once they've left you, or should you just let them go and move on?
No, I think you totally can. I think that's the best person to get back. So I don't know your specific scenario, but I'll share with you an example. For me, many years ago, I had a big client of mine that spent a lot of money with me, and there was they stopped doing business with me, and I wasn't really sure. They weren't even returning my phone calls and or my emails, and I was kind of baffled. I wasn't really sure. So finally one day, I think I called like at 8 o'clock at night. And so it wasn't like during business hours, and they finally picked up. And I was like, Joe, what happened? I mean, I've called you. First off, are you okay? Yes, I'm okay. I said, well, what happened? And I said, and it's okay. I can take it. I need to learn from this experience. Clearly I've said or done something, or something's happened to you. And I think I started with them. I said, it's got to be either me, or is something wrong with you? And it was something that my company had done. I owned my own business at the time, and one of my employees had done something. And I was like, please give me an opportunity to show you that that's not how we are on a normal basis. Can't you, I'm sure you can remember a time where you've messed something up and you just wish that somebody had given you a second chance. And that's what I'm asking you for. I think you just become very humble and you ask them, and then you tell them, yep, we were wrong. There's nothing more powerful than admitting that you were wrong about something and then showing them later on how that's not going to happen again. But yeah, I mean, I think some of the greatest clients I've ever had were ones that I lost at some point, or they got really, 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 really mad at me, and I've doubled and tripled my business with them. I remember a guy who was a really bad customer service situation, but it was all in the way I handled it. And I did triple the business with him the next year. This is back in my electronic components days.
That's
Yeah, of course you.
fabulous. Just a reminder, we're going to be chatting for a couple more minutes. You have any questions for Jenn, type them in now, and we'll see if we can get Jenn to answer them. Jenn, I really appreciate that you said you will live and die by price alone. A lot of agents don't realize that you can spend, a year on a client, and they'll change agents for $10 less on a trip. It's you can't concentrate on price alone. It just never works.
Right, exactly. And that's the whole thing, is that when somebody starts with, well, I've got a budget of $5,000. I'm not going a dime over it. You got to change that conversation and just say, well, that's great to hear. I'm glad we've got some sort of a budget in mind. Who doesn't? So tell me more about what is it that you're trying to accomplish on this trip. Tell me more about what's motivating you to go on this trip. And then you get them down that route, and then that budget really won't come up again. It might, but then you can usually justify it. But try to always take them off of logic and get them into emotion. People buy on emotion and justify logically. I say it every day practically. People buy on emotion and justify logically, and they're buying you and staying loyal to you on emotion, not on logic, not on price, not even on your service. It's how you make them feel.
Jenn, what's the best way to deal with a supplier mistake that negatively affects the client?
Throw the supplier under the bus. No, I'm just joking. I'm joking. No, first off, there's nothing that says I'm an unprofessional by throwing somebody else under the bus and pointing a finger. I think as best as you can, first off, if you're with a host agency, make sure you get your partner relations person on the phone with you, with your BDM or your national accounts manager or what have you, and do it together, okay? Tell them, look, this client is really upset. We need to do something together and brainstorm solutions together. If the supplier, if you've done all that and your client is still like, I can't believe they've done that to me. This just happened to one of our clients, was completely out of our control. It's taken probably 7 weeks to resolve. It's ridiculous. It's one of our top suppliers. And I've told the agent, I said, let's get on the phone with your client and let's just say, look, we messed up. You don't have to say I messed up, because you didn't. You can just say we messed up. There's a partnership that we have, and somewhere along the line, this is what happened. Let's focus on the solution. What can we do to make it better right now? And start talking about solutions. Stay in solution mode, not pointing the finger mode. And your clients, they've done it too. They've messed up. Most humans have messed up along the way. Keep them in the emotional state. Show your professionalism.
Great answer. We'll take one more question. I want to point out to everybody that next to the picture of gorgeous Jenn, she has her phone number and her email address. So if you think of something later and you want to check in with Jenn about it, take a note of her contact information. And thank you so much, Jenn, for providing that. Jenn, one of our agents is making a confession. She has been an agent for a very long time, and she has never done follow-up, rarely has sent a thank you card. And after listening to this webinar, she wants to know, where does she start? Where does she go from here in implementing some of the suggestions you've made?
I think you find something that seems natural and easy for you to begin with. Start with something, even if it's just a text message, right? We all have our phones. We're all texting each other, or a Facebook message. I mean, these are things, places that we are all the time. Don't overthink this. Don't feel like you got to send this beautiful thank you card, this handwritten. I have horrible handwriting. When I send a thank you card, I have to have somebody else write it because my handwriting is horrible. So I just send a text message, or I'll do a little video. I'll do a little video on my phone and say, hey, I just wanted to tell you, thank you so very much. I'm so excited you guys are having a great time. Go make big things happen. Talk to you later, alligator. Bye. And get off the phone and text it over to them. That's it. Start with something. Choose one thing that seems natural, that seems like it's easy for you to implement and seems true to your personality.
Fantastic. I think that does it for the questions. And how about if we get to the prizes giveaways?
I love it. And can I just tell you, I've had 3 people text me from this webinar.
Oh my goodness.
That's my cell phone, people. You're welcome to text. I've had 3 people text me. I love you guys.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. You are fantastic, Jenn. So speaking of how fantastic Jenn is, you probably already knew it, and this webinar just confirmed it. So these 2 prizes will be even more exciting. Jenn is giving away 2 different 30-minute personal consultations with her, where she will help you and answer questions about your particular business. So this is just fantastic. Everybody can benefit from Jenn's experience and her wonderful personality. And Jenn, do you do this by phone? Do you do it by Skype where they can see faces, or how do you do these?
Yeah, we can do any of it. Skype, if you're in Orlando, you come to the office.
Wow.
Yeah, anyway, I love talking to entrepreneurs. And a lot of times, I know for some people who've won in the past, we've gone back and forth with our calendars because we're all so darn busy. But I'm committed. You know, if you win this, you can cash it in anytime. There's no time limit on it.
Okay, fantastic. So this is how it's going to work. Jenn is going to ask a question about something that she covered during this webinar, and type in your answer in the question area, and I will take the 5th correct answer that I see. This is for the first 30-minute consultation. There'll be a different question for the second one. So type in your answer, and please wait till Jenn is finished asking the question. I won't consider answers that come in while Jenn is still talking. So I'll take the 5th correct answer I see on my screen, and I will let you know who won this first 30-minute consultation. So whenever you're ready, Jenn, go ahead and ask your question.
All right, guys. Question number 1. What percentage of customers reported that they changed brands in the last year?
Okay, we have answers coming in. Let me see who is the 5th. Okay, we have a winner. The correct answer is 61%. Many of you got it. And let me just write down the name, because if I don't, I'm going to forget it. I don't even remember what I had for lunch a little while ago. This down. And our winner of the first 30-minute consultation with Jenn is Linda Lowen. So congratulations, Linda. We're going to pass your name and contact information to Jenn, and she will get in touch with you and let you know how to redeem your 30-minute session. So
yeah, Linda, my email is right there, babe. So go ahead and send me an email if you want to, right?
Exactly. You can send Jenn an email with your contact. Well, she'll have your email if you email her, but you might want to send her a phone number too. Okay, this is going to work the same way. I'll take the 5th correct answer once Jenn has stopped asking her question, has finished asking her question. So Jenn, whenever you're ready, go ahead with question number 2.
What is the number one reason people stop using your service?
Wow. We have a lot of answers coming in, a lot of correct answers.
Like 700 times, you better
Jen,
know.
yeah, people have really been paying attention. Let me just double check my numbers here. Okay. The answer is because the customer believes you don't care about them. And our winner of this 30-minute session is Diane Bean. So congratulations to Diane. You can contact Jen, or she will contact you when we give her the information. Jen, as always, this has been absolutely fantastic. Great, great information. Our speaker today for TPI has been Jenn Lee, Vice President of Sales and Marketing. Jen, thank you so much. We love you so much. This was great.
Love you guys too. Good luck to everybody out there. Go make big things happen. You can do it.
And I want to also thank our agents who've been on the call today. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to join us. And I know you got a lot out of this. So thanks very much and enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. Bye, everyone. See you soon.